Hey y'all, from that Tennessee feeling. I hope everybody's had a good month. I think I kind of missed September. Sorry about that, y'all. Or August. It is September. Lord, it's September. Okay, sorry. I hope y'all had a good summer. It's basically the end of summer. It's Labor Day. It actually kind of got cold a couple mornings. It was in the 50s. I like it. I'm okay with that. I'll be okay with it till it snows, but we'll deal with that later. All right, y'all. I'm gonna talk about something, and it's only been about a year, and I just saw different impacts from it. Like I saw it when it happened, but I went through there about a month ago, about the start of August, and I don't know what I expected, y'all. I guess I expected it to just be okay, and it's not. And I don't think people are talking about it, so let's talk about it. And that is that about a year ago, about the end of this month, we had the storm come through and devastate most of Appalachia. And that is Hurricane Helene. If you remember, a year ago, everything seemed fine until this storm hit. And it hit Florida first. We can blame Florida. No, we're not going to blame Florida. Shouldn't nobody be blamed for this. But Helene hit Florida. And it wasn't bad. Like, it wasn't truly, truly bad when it hit Florida. It hit in the end of September. And it's become the deadliest to hit the U.S. since Katrina 20 years ago. About 20 years ago. Helene kind of formed in late September 22nd, roundabout. And then it grew. And it grew. And it finally hit a Category 4 when it hit Florida in the Big Bend with 140 sustained winds. But when it hit with a vengeance, and it moved north. And it did something we've not seen before. It just inundated with rain and winds, and that caused a lot of flooding, y'all. And I know you remember seeing it or felt it if you were there. And poor North Carolina. North Carolina got it so much worse than anybody deserved. Like, we've had a lot of rain before. Like, I remember the flood in Nashville, 2010. But this was something different, y'all. Something so different. I mean, and let's be honest, North Carolina's still hurting. I drove through there about 1st of August, literally I think the first day of August, and I saw so much pain still. Oh, it was devastating. There are still just piles of people's belongings sitting on the road, sitting in the riverbed. I saw half a house in the riverbed still. And it's sad. I was driving through the mountains. I was going over to Roan Mountain. And I came through Chimney Rock. Well, what's left of it, unfortunately. And part of Asheville is just destroyed. And it's bad, y'all. Like, it's still bad. They're going to have another year where people are living in tents or mobile homes or whatever they could find if they even came back. And people are just, and I know that they're picking it up daily, but there's just so much debris from what happened. And I saw something else while I was there. I'll tell you about it in a minute. But I just couldn't believe the devastation. Like, I've seen hurricanes in Florida. I remember Katrina. I lived through a hurricane in Florida. I just could not. This was different, y'all. I don't even know. And one of the weirdest things is that it was the smell. Every now and then you'd get a whiff of it. If you've been through a hurricane, you knew what it was. And it made you more sad. Oh, it made you more sad. And I'll be honest, I'm glad that there are tourists finally coming back because things are open, and there should be. Tourists. I love that tourists come to parts of Tennessee, y'all. Most days, not the bachelorette parties in Nashville. Lord no. Y'all need to go on with your all white boots and pink dresses. Just please go on, and not throw up on the sidewalk. All right. Anyways, back to Helene. I just can't. I don't know. I just wasn't ready to see what I still saw. And then I went to Roan Mountain and the Appalachian Trail. If you saw the TikTok, you know what happened there. That was interesting. But Roan Mountain is just gone. Like, I mean, it's still there, obviously, but it's like and I posted the video on my TikTok, and I'll post it on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. But like, everything is just snapped off and just laying everywhere. And to drive the roads from North Carolina to Tennessee and back, and you just see trees still down. You'd look up the side of the mountain and it wouldn't be a beautiful forest anymore. It looked like somebody just cut a path right down the side of it with just fallen trees. And you could just see where the mudslides came and the rain and the flood. And you'd pass people's houses that still had tarps on it. I saw half a house just sitting there rotting. People were trying to rebuild. It's devastating, y'all. And very East Tennessee is still dealing with the same thing. When Helene hit Tennessee, it was bad. Probably the thing that most people remember is Unicoi, and I'm not saying that right, and I'm from there, and I never can say it, but Unicoi Hospital in Irwin was just underwater. I mean, when it flooded fast. The hospital was almost entirely submerged. And if you don't know where Unicoi is, it's right near the Johnson City, Kingsport, Bristol, right at the Tennessee-Virginia, almost at North Carolina state line. And it's a beautiful place. The Cherokee National Forest is up there. You're close to the, however you say it, Pisgah National Forest. Like, there's some beautiful area up there, y'all. And it got flooded pretty bad. And that's what everybody remembers is 58 people having to be rescued from the hospital being just submerged, and fast. And then there was part of the bridges for I-26 that went over the Nolichucky River, just gone. Just completely gone. And it did, Morristown had a lot of issues. They had trees falling, power was out. Wind gusts were reaching over 44 miles an hour sustained. And then in Newport, you had the Pigeon River. Pigeon River set a new record at 26 feet, y'all. And that was near I-4. Yeah, that's the part that's gone. In Johnson County, people were without power. You couldn't leave the residence. People were flooded in because either they were actually flooded or they couldn't leave because the roads were gone. Homes, buildings were washed away. One of the worst ones I saw was Antioch Baptist Church in the trade community, which is in part of Johnson County. And I mean, it's over eastmost. I mean, it's near North Carolina. It's just gone, y'all. Like, it's gone. There's no other way to put it. Like, it went. 85 people were missing. 85 people went missing. And then one of the other things that happened was the Nolichucky Dam. They were calling for it to be, it was an imminent failure. They evacuated the area because of how high the water was in the Nolichucky River. They thought the dam was going to bust. And that was going to add even more devastation to what people are already dealing with the flooding and the winds and the storm. And it was scary. I remember friends there that were like, hey, we're leaving. And I'm like, what happened? And they're like, the dam's going to bust. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, dam's going to bust. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And the problem was, though, is that the bridge right above it, it was gone because the floodwaters had overran it and just taken the bridge with it. 5 of the state's maintained bridges were just destroyed. And I mean, it was so sad. And then you came out later and heard about Impact Plastics in Irwin, where 6 employees were trapped by floodwaters. They were told they couldn't leave until the plant lost its power. I don't know about you guys, but that's pretty bad to say that to workers, especially if you see it flooding. A lot of state parks were closed. 4 were fully closed. Panther Creek State Park, Seven Islands State Park, State Birding Park, trails and ramps are closed. There's actually still trails closed in Roan Mountain State Park too. There's just, I mean, it was devastating for North Carolina, but it was also devastating, unfortunately, for Tennessee, and people are still dealing with it. Like, I drove up there, and it's not, it's not good, y'all. Like, I went to Big Bald, which is the highest mountain in the Balds, which is the Appalachian Trail. And you could just look out and you could just see where the trees were down. And then you go over to Roan Mountain, and same thing. Trees are just down. And you look down and you see where people's houses were below them, and you think, how did that survive? And I know that it's only been a year, but I don't think we're talking about it enough. I don't. I feel like there's still so much more we could do. And it's not good. It's still so sad. And they're still working on stuff. When I was driving around, I didn't go 40 because they had just literally had it where it had flooded again, ruined the road, and they were having to redo it again. And I remember living in the area, and there was always like a mudslide or a landslide, and it would close part of 40 or 81 or something. But this was something different, y'all. Like, it's just gone. Like, part of the road was gone. And you'd look 40 feet down at the Pigeon River where things used to be, and you'd still see debris just sitting there, washed up. Somebody's home, somebody's clothes. I saw a car when I was driving through North Carolina, just in the riverbank, and I don't know that anybody will ever go get it. And many of the rivers in the area did flood. I mean, and they hit large, way over what's normal for a crest stage, and it just submerged whole towns, took it with them with the waters. I-26, part of I-26 and I-40 with North Carolina and Tennessee, they were just gone, which effectively basically just cut off part of North Carolina, like Asheville. And it's still obvious, and there's long-term damage to the economy. There's long-term damage to the environment. And I hate it. It started on September 27th, and it kept going. I mean, the Nolichucky River just carved a path of destruction on its own thanks to these floods. Greene County, Washington County, Johnson County, Unicoi, they were all, Cott County was the other one. 17 people died just in Northeast Tennessee. And it was, it was really, really sad. And the state's still dealing with it, There's homes that used to stand there that are just debris, and even now. And I think that's what hit me the most was that, you don't hear about it, and so you think everything's getting better, and it's not. Y'all, it's just really not. It was, it was bad. I mean, the roads are gone, houses are gone, people are gone. And there's still parts that are closed. You still can't get to certain things in certain parts because, they were working on I-40 to get to North Carolina and they haven't hit these other ones yet. I do think that probably the scariest part was Irwin with the Unifor with the hospital. The river just came out of nowhere on that one. They could not ground evacuate anybody out of that hospital. It's only 10-bed hospital. It's not huge, but it was bad. And when it came through, it was also carrying debris. 54 people were standing on the roof 7 hours, and it was close to just taking over the whole hospital. I mean, the water stopped within 8 to 10 feet of that roof. 2 other hospitals had to close in Greene and Carter counties. And most of this is from the Nolichucky. And then to think that dam could have busted, you talk about major problems. It's sad to know that this is still going on. I mean, parts of the Great Smoky Mountain National Park are still closed. Like I said, parts of the trail for Bald Mountain or Roan Mountain were closed. Thankfully, you could still get to part of it. Although it looked like somebody had just taken a bunch of matchsticks, snapped off the tops, and they're still sitting in the ground. And it could be years before you understand how big the impact is on just Helene. Because this is not something anybody had really ever seen. But I noticed something else when I was driving through. And one was that everybody was still really nice, despite having lost most things. And you knew these people that were working probably either stayed or came back to nothing or not a lot. Or now their friends aren't there. Part of their things, like their normal routine, has been completely just shattered. But everybody was still really nice and helpful and kind. And I can tell you in Florida, after going through a hurricane, people aren't exactly that way. So it was really strange to see. No, it was good. It wasn't strange. It was good. It was good to see that people were still trying, especially through parts of North Carolina and on into East Tennessee. But I noticed something else. As I was driving, I think, I don't even know how to describe this, but there were people that weren't there, y'all, on that riverbank. I was driving through the mountains, coming up on Roan Mountain, going through North Carolina, twists and turns, and you'd see people. They weren't doing anything. They were just kind of standing at the riverbank. But I don't know how else to describe it, y'all. That area is so hurt that even the spirits are still there. And there was an energy about it, and it was sad, and it was heavy. And to see this debris that used to be people's things, even in Tennessee, they're still cleaning up and having to go different roads because the road you want is still not fixed or not passable because it's right by the river. And to see the trees that came down the mountain sitting right at somebody's home that they're repairing. It was just such a heavy presence. But to see the people, or what I thought were people, was probably the weirdest experience I've ever seen. Because you could feel them. And you could see what looked like people. But you knew nobody was down there working on that debris. And you knew nobody was down there cleaning it up. And the river was just flowing right beside it. And it was so strange. And on Roan Mountain, gosh, that was also a very heavy, strange thing. I don't know how else to describe it. It was like, I felt like I wasn't supposed to be there. Like I had bothered Appalachia itself. It was so weird, y'all. And it's not even been a year yet, and I feel like people have just forgotten Appalachia. But don't forget them. They're strong. They're resilient. People are working. People are there. People are nice. But go visit the spots that used to be open. Some of them are open. Part of Asheville is definitely open. I saw it. I don't know that parts will ever recover, though, unfortunately, much like Chimney Rock. It was such a beautiful place, too. I don't know that it is still, you know, I mean, they say they're open, especially through Lake Lure. And Lake Lure is a beautiful place. Although I don't know I'd swim in it ever again. But, you can still go and you can still visit. And I think, I encourage everybody to go visit these areas that got hurt. And the reason I do that is because that helps them. Makes them feel normal. Makes them feel like they're going to be able to get back to normal one day. It'll be a new normal. But it'll be a normal. And Lake Lure is open. They're still working on it. They're still restoring parts of it. It is open. You can see it. You can kind of visit it. But the town is open too. And that's one of those towns that also got really hurt. So I encourage y'all to visit. I encourage y'all to go. I encourage everybody to support Appalachia. If you're thinking about going somewhere for a small trip, go visit East Tennessee. Go to Round Mountain State Park. It was beautiful. Hike part of the Appalachian Trail. Don't get chased by a weirdo like I did. That was interesting. But, people are recovering. People are back. Appalachia's open. East Tennessee's open. And there are still people who are trying to make it better. And, Lake Lure is one of those places I encourage you to go, even though it's not in Tennessee. And Asheville is one of those places I encourage you to go. And Chimney Rock, again, is one of those places that I absolutely encourage y'all to go. And the shops and restaurants in Chimney Rock Village are actually reopening. There's things to do again. There's places to go. And I think that, it'd be great to be able to go back. I think it'd be so fun to be able to go back. Just to be able to support those, you feel a connection to. Appalachia it's living, it's breathing, it's moving, it's changing, but it's still Appalachia, y'all. So even though it's been a year, let's not forget it. Let's not forget what it was, and let's try to go back and help it be again. I think we should. I think we should support it, especially what all it's been through in less than a year. But when you go, be nice. Don't complain a lot. But also don't be surprised if you don't feel like you're alone, ever. I don't know how to describe it, but I feel so much for those people in East Tennessee and North Carolina that lost everything. And I don't think some of them are ready to go. All right, guys, support Appalachia, support East Tennessee, support North Carolina. It's maybe that Tennessee feeling, but we still support others. We weren't nicknamed the volunteer state for no reason. This is not the episode I thought I would do, but when I realized that it's been almost a year and these people still really desperately need help, and it was so bad that I knew I needed to talk about it again. I hope everybody has a great month. I'll see you in October for Spooky Month. But if you are planning to go see some beautiful fall leaves, or you want to get away in the mountains, or you want to feel the cooler air faster than it's getting where you are, go to East Tennessee. Go. Jonesboro is beautiful. Johnson City's beautiful. Irwin's beautiful. Go visit them. Go visit Kingsport. Go visit Morristown. Go to North Carolina. Help it become what it used to be, y'all. Have a good month. Don't forget to stay country.
This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.